Welcome back to BVarsity Live. We got our last in-studio coach, Steve Denman. We have a taped segment with him in the final segment of Tatchby. But this is it, Trevor. I mean, this is our last guy in studio. It's hard to believe.
Today has gone by really quickly, and I think the last 2 days have gone by very, very quickly. It's been a lot of fun to be able to get everybody in studio and kind of, forward look at, what we're going to be getting into in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We're going to have a game.
Sure. 15 days is the first Friday night of the season. And to that end, we bring in North High coach Norm Brown, a new face in town for us. And welcome to town. Welcome to BVarsity, Norm.
Hey, thank you, Zach. Appreciate it. Thank you, Trevor.
We appreciate you being here. And tell us what you know about the Stars so far. I know you're a guy, we met you right away at your press conference, a lot of energy. If you folks don't know Norm Brown, you're going to get to know him, I think, pretty quickly because he's that type of guy. Have you been able to imbue that on your team, and what do you think of the Stars so far?
Well, I think, number one, our community, Oildale, is a strong community, and I think it starts there. I think our kids are tough kids, and they have a lot of pride, and so in their community and their school, and I think that's one of the things that attracted me with North is, obviously you apply for a job and you start to look at the team, and what I saw on film were kids that didn't quit, played hard from snap to whistle for 4 quarters. And I thought that was the most important thing in terms of coaching football. Then obviously you got to look at the school, and you look at the long tradition of the school, one of the oldest schools here in Bakersfield,
Sure.
And the administration with Alan Paradise and Brian Hunes as our athletic director. The administration's strong. I enjoyed our interview process, and I thought that was very, very important. And so with that, I decided to come down, move lock, stock, and barrel down here into Bakersfield. Number one was obviously get married to my wife, Monica, and we just got married this summer on July 4th. And
that's the best news we've heard all.
Congratulations, man.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
Congratulations. Now moving from San Jose, is that correct?
Yeah.
You were at Independence High School in San Jose.
That's right, Zach.
Now, is the style of play, is the culture different in Bakersfield? I mean, have you been able to gauge that yet as far as high school football is concerned?
Well, I think obviously Bakersfield football is big. It's definitely on the map. I didn't realize how big until I had a chance to go and watch some games and look at some schools. Mm-hmm. And obviously my brother-in-law, he's the head basketball coach. I want to put a shout out to him.
Oh, yeah.
AJ Sharon, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a friend of the program,
at Liberty.
Definitely.
And so I got a chance to go to some of those games and watch the crowds come in and watch the play, and I thought it was exciting. I had a chance to play some Fresno teams like Bullard. We played Clayton Valley, who's kind of a similar with Tim Murphy. Obviously, George Fall got a coach for him before. I want to congratulate George for getting the Taft job. And obviously, Chad Brown over at Centennial and AJ Gass, I think, at Garces. So
sure.
Those guys, give a shout out to those guys. Hey, good luck this year, and we'll see George here in a few weeks.
Sure you will. Diving into your team, 6-6 last year, made the quarterfinals in Division III, a big playoff victory over Wasco, I know, and you sort of get to build on that. And I know the guy that everybody's going to know his name is Curtis Terrell-Keld, who's geared up for his senior year, 1,643 yards and 21 touchdowns on the ground last year. This guy's an athlete, and we know him really well because he's been around a while now.
Right, Curtis has tremendous numbers, from the previous year, and we want to start new, and one thing I like about Curtis is that, he's worked really hard, and he's trained day in and day out, every day with the team. I think that the leadership, that senior leadership that we provide, the seniors, we got a lot of seniors coming back. Not only Curtis, but we got Joe Rogers and James Klein and Tyler Gilmore, some real solid seniors that are returning. And so, Curtis's numbers are awesome. To me, he's a multi-set guy. So, where do you put him? I've already said, if he could snap it to himself, drop back, throw it to himself, he probably could do that and maybe have some success.
Right.
I don't know. But,
I should mention almost 400 receiving yards last year, too, on 22 catches. So he can do a little bit of everything. Right. Who are the guys around him who you're going to need to be successful for him to be successful?
Well, I think with any good, strong program, the foundation is your upfront guys, and I think having had an opportunity to play college football and play some pro ball, that kind of was instilled with me. I think, number one, we start there. So you start with, guys like Jacob Delaware and James Klein. Mm-hmm. We got a bunch of big physical linemen that are returning. And, we're going to bring up a few sophomores. We got Connor Whitby coming up, a sophomore lineman, and he'll look like he'll have some playing time on the offense and possibly defensive lines.
North High under Cy Silver, under Mark Camps before that, didn't throw the ball a whole lot, and Chad Brown was starting to change that, I think, threw for a little over 1,000 yards last year. What's your philosophy as far as that goes? I mean, does it depend on your personnel, or how would you like to play offense?
Well, I was lucky enough to be obviously a youngest of 8 kids growing up in San Jose, and I played at Oak Grove High School, which was a public school in San Jose in the Bay Area. It's been a pretty powerhouse of a school up there, and I watched all my older brothers. The youngest of 8, and 5 boys played Oak Grove at Oak Grove, and the head coach was Phil Stearns, and his offense coordinator was Mike Holmgren. And if you know who that is, he became a premier offensive coach and Super Bowl winning head football coach in the NFL. And he was a pro-style guy back then, and I think we were well-schooled in that. And I think that's kind of what you look at in terms of offense and passing. I'm going to approach it in that kind of fashion.
Who's the quarterback?
Well, we obviously have 2 juniors competing for quarterback right now. We got Bradley Mauser and Marley Garnett, and 2 juniors working hard right now. It's hard to tell. It's a close race right now, and they're both competing. It's a fight for that position. We both apply themselves differently. They're both kind of different. Marley's more of a scrambler. Marley's more of a drop back pocket guy. Mauser's more of a scrambler. So we'll see.
Is that something that could go into the season? Would you prefer to have one picked by August 28th?
I prefer to have one pick. So we're going to be breaking down film and looking at it very closely. We got an inter-squad scrimmage coming up, and obviously a scrimmage with Shafter and Mark Farland.
Yep.
And that'll be interesting. It'll be my first getting wet in Bakersfield and Bakersfield football.
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, you don't get wet very often.
Right.
Yeah,
We're on a drought, so I want to definitely.
Yeah, unless Godzilla and El
for
Nino
water.
actually does show up, it doesn't get wet here very often.
But enough with his offense. We know you're a defensive guy at heart. What's the Stars' defense look like?
Well, obviously, I think it's going to be solid. We got a lot of seniors returning, starting with 2 inside linebackers. Obviously, Robert Ramos and Joe Rogers returning from last year.
Yep, Joe had a monster year, didn't he?
It was 190 tackles last year, I think the number was.
Very impressive for a young man.
And Robert was 109, so that's pretty good.
Was it 190? Was it? Yeah.
190 and 109, and of Joe's 190, 28 tackles for loss. So, holy moly.
Yeah.
Well, I think Joe's special. I think the thing I really appreciate in Joe is that he has not missed a day. He's not missed a workout, not missed a practice. Got a workman's effort on it. He's definitely a vocal leader that we need, and so he has stepped up in that fashion. And I think he's real intense, yet smart. And I think that combination shows on the field. He's tenacity, but he gets the ball in the right, and he's always in the right place. So. It's been a thrill to coach him, and I'm looking forward to see him, on Friday nights, Friday Night Lights.
Cool. Well, let's bring up the North High schedule, and we'll take a look at that. You mentioned you guys have Taft early on in the year, though. You open up with Wasco. That's, by the way, live on Bakersfield.com the first Friday night of the season. It's our first game of the week. Right. Wasco's very tough coming into town. That's a difficult challenge to slow their running game down. Then you have East, which is a traditional power. You sort of get thrown right into it.
Right. I mean, it doesn't get easy. Our division it's a good division. Our schedule's a very tough schedule. Obviously, the opener is going to be a very big test for our team, for our seniors. The Wasco definitely playing the payback from last year's playoff game. So we know that we're going to be getting their very best, and so that the preparation needs to be obviously. Specific, intense, and direct, and that's a big opener. I mean, they're physical, they're tough, they've got a great program, and so obviously, live on Bakersfield.com, man. So definitely want to have everybody tune into that and hopefully watch a great game, and we won't disappoint.
Yeah, we think it will be good. And then 3 straight road trips: Taft, Delano. Right. And Monache and then Tatchby at home before you get into the league. What's your impression of the league, of what you know of it? I know you're new in town, so it's a little difficult to get abreast of that sort of thing. But we know South's the two-time defending champ now, and that's probably the team that everybody's gunning for.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, you can't look toward the end of the season. You got to come out. Our team goals are great start, great finish, and improvement in between. And so that's our team goals. And if you look at our schedule, it matches up the same way. We got to come out of the gates strong, obviously with Wasco, and then you got those 3 road trips. We understand, and you can't forget obviously Tehachapi, who has got a great wing T program there, and then get into our league play. You look at Foothill and Miramonte have improved. I got a chance to see Miramonte in the summer, and I was impressed with what that coach is doing so far. And Highland, we got both. We finish at home, and I think that'll hopefully be an advantage. But you can't neglect the fact that our rivalry is our last game of the season, and we look forward to that game every year. You always look forward to your rivalry. You know that from high school when you went to high school, and so it's a tough schedule,
Yeah.
Zach. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think every game's tough, and we got to prepare for every game to be just like the last. A tough outlet, tough right out of the gate, and finish strong. Hopefully, we'll have a chance at the playoffs.
Sure thing. Now, we've had a lot of first-year and second-year head coaches in here the last couple of days, and I think you see a difference in comfort level from year one to year two. Year one is always a little bit uncomfortable just by default. What has to happen for your program to kind of hit the ground running here in your first year? Is there something specific you look at and say that's a key for us to have success in 2015?
Well, I mean, I think that the most important thing is that you build some unity. The kids buy in to what you're doing. And if they buy in and they unite and we can really call ourselves a family, I think that's pretty much the most important thing. We have a strong community in Oildale, and I think that we want to represent our community. And how you do that is you come together and you play for each other, And so, how do you teach that? That's something that you got to try to coach in some aspects of the game. And so, our practice, time, our weight training program, our strength and conditioning, all those play a part. Film breakdown, and so. Those things are important to our program, and I think that's kind of where we start. We start right now with trying to form a family, form a bond, form a team that will play for each other.
How's that going? Can you tell yet if
good,
that's happening? Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things we did, and I've said it before, is I had the lucky enough opportunity to play some rugby in college. I played 3 sports at San Jose State, football, basketball, and rugby. But rugby, I only caught on to it late, and it fascinated me. It's a great game, a lot of unity, a lot of brotherhood, I'd say, and a lot of bonding, and
a lot of scrums.
Yeah, a lot of scrum, a lot of running, a lot of
hitting, yeah,
a lot of
You're
tackling.
right there with them,
right? And so but you look at a lot of the pro game, and you look at the Seattle Seahawks have went to rugby tackling style, and so we're going to apply that. And how we do that with teamwork is. We take the pads off, we flip the lights on, and we play a little rugby, and we compete and have fun. So the guys are out there playing, and all of a sudden, that's a way to form some bond, bondsmanship and brotherhood. And so that's kind of the one aspect that we applied to our game at North.
Well, we love it. This is Norm Brown. He's a fascinating guy and a first-year coach at North High, and we look forward to watching the Stars this year. Thanks for being here, Norm.
Hey, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, and we'll be back. Our last segment coming up on the Super Show right after this.
All right.